Chapter 14. On Monday evening, Wonder came by the house. It was the last day of June. She wore a pillbox hat and had a cigarette fidgeting between her fingers. This meant she was uptight or in a hurry. She thanked Hector for the great job he'd been doing before asking him if there was anything he needed before the holiday weekend. No, I'm really all set. After the past month, it feels like I'm settling into a productive routine. Well, you look tired. If I was younger, I might say you look like shit. Don't work so hard and don't pride yourself on overworking, or whatever it is that has you looking like this. Get some sleep, eat your vegetables, you're old enough, I don't need to tell you. You're an intelligent and handsome young man, so damn it, take care of yourself so you can stay that way. Do we have an understanding here? Hector laughed and nodded with some embarrassment. Yeah, we got a deal. Okay then, brilliant. Now you have your updated tour times for the July weeks. Anything else? Hector heard Renee walking upstairs and the acids in his stomach began to burn. You got a friend up there? Well, that's good. Friends and visitors are welcome as long as it's not disruptive to the work and the atmosphere of this house. Hector held a calm nod as she went on. And Hector, we'll be out of some of the needed cleaning supplies soon. Take the house credit card and get restocked for the rest of the month. Easy enough? Easy. Hector, you're doing very well. Thank you from me and thank you from the board. He began to return her thanks with a statement until she continued on. Save it. Now I'm really off this time. Enjoy the house and the hill and get some sleep. Not long after the car disappeared down the driveway, Renee Vasquez came walking down the stairs. It sounds like you're all good, man, Hector announced. She was cool about it? I didn't mention any details. She just kind of kept talking and I just went with it. She's cool. I saw her getting in the car. She's definitely the same lady that I used to see here for my recitals. She would play Louise Ferrand pieces like a gangster. Hector smiled with a confident nod as Renee pulled out his phone to type a message. Look who got a new phone, Hector teased. Yeah, I got it. What's up with Melissa Avila? She's good, dude. I think we're putting the damn thing back together, but it's too soon to tell. Amazing. What's up with your family and your buds? They're so good, dude. I've been seeing everyone a lot more now that I'm getting settled back with day-to-day life, so next thing to knock out is getting some consistent work going. Hector nodded with an acknowledging smile as he started for the kitchen. Am I still good to stay here for a few more weeks? Renee asked. As long as you need. Just do me a favor and keep playing the piano when you can. The guided tours on Tuesday were a blur. By Wednesday evening, he was finishing his last day of work before the holiday weekend. Hector thought of Frankie Cienlagos. They still didn't have any confirmed plans for the extra days off. He'd sent a few texts and she'd responded. They were reassuring enough in tone, but he was still struggling with the shift in their dynamic. Renee cautioned him about his impulsiveness. Hector strained to slow the demands firing from his heart to his head and then out of his mouth. Renee suggested he stop and count to 18 before sending any texts. Eventually, this advice found Hector counting up to 100. Hector was seated on the toilet when he heard his phone ringing downstairs. He thought to ask Renee to look at who was calling, but Renee was out with friends in the Crown Victoria. The missed call on his phone was from Noah. He tapped through some options, but hesitated to call him back, knowing that he'd have to update his friend on the current events of his situation with Frankie, which he was too tired to do. He exited out of the call screen and thought to go outside on the lawn to review some photos he needed to post on the Ocean Green website. Once again, his phone buzzed to life with a call. He was surprised by the digital screen's glow. Frankie. Hey, he said tightly. What are you up to, she asked. Oh, I'm just relaxing at home after the long day and some greasy flautas. How's the day for you? As long as mine? It's been long, that's for sure, but I finally feel like I can relax a bit. My period started, so that's been a real nice icing on the cake. She immediately sounded like she'd made it to the other side of whatever it was that had her so tight earlier in the week. Hector attempted to loosen his spirit before replying. Damn, well, I hope it's a mellow one. You're really sweet. Sympathizing with something you don't know anything about, just to help me feel better, she giggled on the line. There she is, Hector laughed in return. I'm a little moody, but I'm just having fun, right? Of course. Are we going to meet up this weekend for the 4th, she asked. Well, here's the thing, and I know you'll understand, but I have to drive to Utah this weekend, he said nervously. Can I tell you something? She asked in reply. Please. Actually, 2 things. Hector could almost hear her smiling on the other end of the line. Well, come on already, he laughed nervously. Thing number 1. I'm excited for you. A little proud even, she said with a tone of excitement. Thank you, he chuckled. Do you want to hear the second? You're really killing me here. He started to raise his voice in an exaggerated delivery. Thing number 2. Can I go with you? I want to go with you. Let's hit the road, he announced. Woohoo! She giggled softly. You really want to spend double-digit hours in a car with me? Are you kidding me? I survived double-digit hours of parking lot skate history, so a drive to Utah will be nothing, she replied. I should warn you, there are some skateboarding-related stops outside Vegas. That's fine too, but I really hope you're fucking with me. I am. Good. So when do we leave? Frankie asked in an easy tone. I found a lake where we can set up camp on the mountain. We'll stay the night in Vegas on Thursday to break up the drive. I'll pick you up at 7 p.m. Can that work? Tomorrow? That's correct. Shit, it's a date, she replied. Long date, he laughed before collecting himself. Hey, I'm always up for a road trip, and I know a long drive is always better with a good co-pilot. I'm really excited for you to do this, Hector. Me too, it feels good, he agreed. But now I gotta pack and make sure I got enough clean underwear and all that business. He appreciated her keeping the mood light. It was a relief to hear her back to her easy way. She could glide through words and through crowded rooms and spaces when she was in this state. He'd seen her do it, attracted to the way she had about her. Confidence came flooding back into his system. With this evolution in their situation, he walked out back to sit in the grass and smoke a joint. It was an ideal summer night to relax on the lawn. The sky was clear and the glow of the city muted the stars above. The anticipation of the drive and the tangled feelings surrounding the mountain highway kept him wide awake as he listened to the sirens and sounds of the city. For a moment he paused to reflect on the journey from the Pacific Northwest down to the old house in Pasadena. Hector was halfway through the joint when his nostalgia for his first week at the house met his memory of the writings he'd found in the outdoor library. Once he thought of Angela's rhyme and Teresia's trees down the hill, his mind would not allow him to move on. With the drive the following evening and all the anticipation around it, Hector stood up from the grass lawn and walked into the kitchen to grab an apple from the refrigerator. He stood in the outdoor library with a green apple in one hand and his cell phone in the other. The light from his phone gave enough glow to the pink journal to read it once more. To truly see what your others see, go beneath Teresia's trees. Hold an apple in your hand. Turn 3 circles where you stand. Walking the lawn in the night felt good. The evening breeze of the new month brushed against his arms, and it was warmer than it had been throughout all of June. It felt as if the fruit trees were pulling him into faster steps as he trekked further down the hill. His steps on the grass had grown louder to his ears. The grouping of trees that Wonder pointed to during his orientation were now looking back at Hector from the dark as he entered. A critter in the shadows sped away, causing Hector to stop and listen in the quiet. His eyes adjusted, and he could see the shape and color of lemons and avocados in the protruding moonlight. Taking more slow steps toward the lemon tree, he heard a mockingbird's song nearby. The sounds of the city were gone, and his heartbeat began to buck in his chest. He liked the idea of being barefoot, so he removed his shoes and stood still, exchanging the green apple nervously between his hands. Dogs in the nearby homes down the hill barked in a more unified chorus than usual, which distracted him, until he dropped the apple into his left hand and began to spin in a circular rotation with his eyes closed. As he began the second rotation, his balance faltered. The turf below his body began to rock and then jolt more violently. Hector trotted out of the fruit trees to the open grass as the second earthquake of the summer pulled him into a survival state. When the quake rocked back to a lullaby's pace and a silent finish, the dogs in the neighborhood barked alongside the first responder sounds erupting across the city. Hector looked up the hill at the house and found Renee's silhouette under the back door light. He bit into the green apple as if to announce his change of plans and stepped into a barefoot jog back to the house. Renee gestured with a laugh at Hector's bare feet when he arrived at the back door. "You good, boss?" "Yeah, man, I'm good. How's the house looking after that?" "I was just walking in from the car, so I only passed through the front room and the kitchen. Everything I saw looked fine." "I haven't had 2 earthquakes in a summer since, the 90s, Hector said, annoyed. "Now it's the aftershock waiting game, right?" Renee said as he lit a cigarette. When you were a kid, were you scared of the San Andreas Fault dropping into the ocean? Hell yeah, I was, Hector nodded before going on. Where are you coming from? He asked as they walked inside to the kitchen. Just hanging out with some old friends. I think I got a job coming together doing some tattoo apprenticing with a homie. What? Hell yeah. We gotta cheers to that, Hector announced as he opened the back door. For real, Renee responded. I was starting to get anxious about what the hell I could do. Now I'm just tripping because this is what I've been thinking about since Chino. So doing sketches is saving my ass once again. That's amazing, dude, Hector said, walking to grab 2 bottles from the side kitchen fridge. Yeah, dude. I'd sketch all the time, and eventually dudes just started asking me for art and random shit. Not long after that, I was doing stick and pokes for all kinds of people. Even the chingon bosses. It did a lot for me in there. Is that one of yours? Hector said, gesturing to the Japanese character tattooed on Renee's forearm. Nah, I got this from one of the OGs as part of a trade. You know what this is? No idea. I thought it was like a motorcycle sketch you made with a Japanese style. Damn, good eye, Hector. It's Japanese, but it's not mine. It's some old shit. It's a daruma. A what? Hector laughed with a bit of the lingering high from his joint on the lawn. Daruma dolls are like some tradition where you set an intention, or hope, or dream, or whatever, and you set the shit into motion when you color in its left eye. Then once you achieve whatever the goal was, you fill in the right eye. This red dude was for my intention to survive in there, he said, gesturing at the one-eyed character. Damn, Hector said, leaning down to focus on the Daruma's lines and features. Once my line work got good enough, I traded an OG some art to get this done in return. So your sketches and skills got you some protection. That's insane, Hector said, leaning against the kitchen countertop. I didn't get to bypass much of anything, but I did survive. Like, everybody has to do their part. Nobody gets to sit out. He paused. Like I said, it's different for everyone, but I'm grateful to be alive. Like what stuff? Can I ask that? Hector asked with an uncertain delivery. Of course, Hector. Renee laughed with his big smile before going on. Let me think. It actually helps me to talk about it, he said, looking out the kitchen window. Okay, so about 8 months ago, some heads let me know that I was going to be involved in some plans. And these things, as you probably already know, aren't a choice. You don't get to choose to be in a crew or choose not to. You're adopted into it, and that's all there is to it if you want to survive. Whatever they got planned for you, you're gonna do it. Hector nodded. So the next thing I know, I'm with a group of like 40 dudes ambushing one of the Peckerwood crews while they're in the showers. Like running into this fucking huge shower area and just attacking fools. Shut the fuck up, man, Hector said in disbelief. Most of my brain is completely shut off, but at the same time, my mind is in this attack survival state, as me and the rest of the Mexicans are just beating the shit out of these dudes who are, blind from the soap in their eyes. I'm just swinging at this one dude until there's just blood all over my feet, and then boom, the heads start yelling to bounce and we turn around and get the fuck out of the place like nothing ever happened. Holy, Hector said flatly. It's just like how we're wondering about the aftershocks from that earthquake. I was just fucking praying that I wasn't caught up in any retaliation. And I was fucking praying that I wouldn't be called up for the next plans, Shit, Renee. Was that too much? My bad, Hector, he said, laughing it off. Nah, man. I'm just that much more grateful for this house now, Same, Renee said, finishing his beer. Thanks again for letting me use the car. I'm gonna call it. Renee exited through the hall past the meditation room before Hector heard the stairs pop with each of his steps. Then Hector saw his phone buzzing on the kitchen table. It was a text from Frankie. Did you make some earthquake wishes this time?